Took a couple tries, but we got there. It's way past my bedtime. We'll revisit this in the morning. How's it going? So, as you can probably see from the intro clip in here, it kinda works. Getting this thing up and running was quite the task. So, this video is just gonna be an overview of the electronics, how the tube is installed in there, and then just some glamour shots of it running. Let's start in the back with a quick recap on the control box. So, first stop on our tour, the laser control box. I'm not gonna go too deep into this because I already made a video of it. Go watch it here, or I don't know where. It's all basically the same as in that video, although there is no Arduino up here. That is up in the CNC control box. And up here we have various power supplies for the stepper drives and all that good jazz, as well as a little fish tank bubbler for the air assist on the laser. The other thing that got changed here is I actually took one of these servos that controls the needle valve for the gas control out, because I found that the gas control needs a very precise turn, and I can just set it there and leave it. The other one is still able to be controlled. That will affect the lasing, but not as much as the other valve. One turn on the gas valve could kill the laser. One turn on this can power it down a little bit. Let's move up to the new stuff. So up in this cabinet, we've got our laser tube. Now, I rebuilt this tube 100 times trying to get it consistent enough to work on a CNC machine. And each time I built it, it meant cutting the tube, cutting the glass, so I'd be losing like 3 inches every time until we got to this guy, which works very consistently. Possibly not enough power, but enough power to make a video, huh? The laser tube here is just the same as what you've seen in previous videos. It's just a different size and different bore diameter. So the laser tube is all aligned and good to go, but the way I was aligning it, I cut a little hole in the case here. I just gotta take this mirror off, and I have a laser pointer on a mag base that sticks out here. I can adjust it to be aligned with the tube and use that to adjust the mirrors. And then from there, it's just regular CNC machine mirror adjustments. The mirrors I'm using on these are First Surface gold-plated mirrors. I think they're copper, not silicone, because, I don't know, I like to shill out money. There's plenty of good videos on YouTube describing the process. I would suggest further Fabrications video. And adjusting mine are just the same, except I've got one extra mirror. Now then, onto the... What's that? Oh, you want to see the laser fire? Okay. Here goes nothing. Whoa! Yeah, I've just been burning holes in this totally important page of notes. Now then, the new stuff. Over here is just a jumbled mess of lines that go up to the laser, the gas, the water cooling. I designed it with this extra space in here in case I want to install a longer tube, which eventually I will do. This is just a hose for the exhaust. And over here is where all the good stuff is. Just a quick gander here before I explain it all. We have 4 stepper drives, 2Y, 1Z, 1X. We have a parallel port breakout board back here. Cheapest one I could find on Amazon. We have a tiny little PC with a parallel port, which was just a used unit that I found on Amazon. Again, we've got an Arduino Uno and an Arduino Leonardo. Now we can move to the front panel and I'll explain how all this comes together. All right, so here we have the front panel. Looks like a nice, fancy, sophisticated machine. I think going through piece by piece on this will kind of give you the gist of how the CNC machine works. So, to start out, this is the power switch. When this switch is flipped, all the case fans turn on, the water cooler fans turn on, and all the power supplies minus the laser power supply turn on. Oh, and the Arduinos turn on. Now this button starts the computer. Give that a second to boot up. So hopefully this isn't too painful to watch, but this is the screen that comes up once you turn the computer on. I'm running this machine on Linuxcnc using the Jamokopi GUI. And at first I wanted to mod it all and make it all fancy and laser specific. Instead, I went into the source file for Jamokopi and changed this to say laser power instead of spindle speed, and this to say air instead of cooler. Very sophisticated programming. Now, if you want a full run through on how to install Linuxcnc and use Linuxcnc, check out Swolebro. He's got a series on modding Linux CNC, setting up Linux CNC. He's smart, he's thorough, and he's funny. So I can't make a better video than he has of it. Check him out. So this is all touchscreen. Start up the machine like so, and come down here and you can home it. There we go, machine's homed. We can move it wherever we please. Now, why did I choose Linux CNC? 1, it's what I use for the plasma cutter, so I know it. 2, it's free. 3, this Jamocha P GUI is actually tailor-made to be used with touchscreen, so I thought it would be a good fit here. And it's got all your regular CNC controls. You can move the gantry using these. That'll turn the air on. This will start the spindle, which I'm not going to do because the spindle will blind me. Yada yada, whatever. It works. So moving right down the front panel, we've got these 2 dials with digital readouts. Now, these are hooked up to the Arduino Uno, and these are used to control opening and closing the gas and vacuum valves on the back, which I went into in a previous video, and as you saw back there, one of those is not hooked up, but you know, I'm leaving 2 up here for symmetry. And next in line, we've got a couple switches. One of these turns on the exhaust. I don't know if you can hear that. And I didn't want the exhaust hooked up to the CNC machine in case the thing got filled with smoke and I wanted to keep running it after the job was done. And the other one, turns on the lights. So I just have a LED strip going all around the upper portion of the machine. This switch with the big menacing red cover starts everything. That was a glitch. Starts everything for the laser. So that'll turn on the vacuum pump, that'll turn on the coolant pump, and turn on the laser power supply. We'll keep that off for now. Down here, we have a USB port, so I can stick a thumb drive in here with my files. Here, we have our obligatory big red button. Hit this, cuts off power to the laser. That's it. It doesn't actually stop the machine or anything. I may wire it in like that, but I kind of don't like accidentally bumping something and ruining a job. And now, for the crown jewel of this whole experience, we got a Wiimote. So the Wiimote, you can use to jog the gantry. Stick controls X and Y, and the back 2 buttons move the bed. So the Wiimote works by reading the I2C signals that come from the Wiimote on an Arduino and then writing them as keyboard commands. So the stick just controls the arrow keys, and these buttons control page up and page down, and those are just the regular keyboard shortcuts for Linux CNC. This is all using the keyboard library, and to use that on an Arduino you need to use an Arduino Leonardo or I think a Micro. If I'm not mistaken, the Arduino Leonardo has 1 chip that does the processing and communication with the computer over the USB port, as opposed to the other Arduinos, which have a separate chip for communication with the computer than the actual processing chip, I think. But yeah, that's how that works. I've set it up so that when Z is at 0, it's touching the nozzle of the laser head. That way, we can put this into incremental mode and we can dial it in. So let's say we have 0.1 material thickness and we need to be 0.3 from the top of that. We can set it there and start our cut, and we know that we're perfectly spaced for the focal length of that lens. I think that just about covers the machine. Ain't nothing left to do but to push it in its final resting home and cut out some memes. Got him! Looks pretty good. The lines are sharp. Some pieces actually got cut all the way through. You can see it's not the most consistent thing in the world, but it did cut. And for some reason the laser stayed on as it jogged back to 0. So that's a thing as well. Now, it did have to run very slow, and it took 3 passes to get this far. So, I mean, I'll take the success where I can get it, man. Not sure how to tell you this. We got it working, man. We got it working good enough. Pretty good at engraving, It can cut, but not very well. It does work, and I could just do some fancy editing and call this the video. It works, but that doesn't feel quite right. So those clips that you saw of the thing cutting / engraving are way sped up. When this thing is cutting, it is slow. It's probably due to the tube being too short, but who knows? You know, with enough time and money, we can do anything. But there comes a point where I just gotta put a cap on this thing. I need to move on with my life. I'm sick of making laser tubes. That's not even including the ones that I broke to steal parts from. I went ahead and bought a sealed 100-watt laser tube that's actually going to live in this CNC machine. I'm a little bummed that I had to go this route, but this will make cutting a lot faster, a lot simpler. I won't need to supply it with gas. The list goes on and on. I'm sorry if this is a cop-out. This is what's going to serve me best. So, might be a little bit of a cop-out for me to actually end up buying a tube, and I'm sorry. But in the end, I think I built a pretty cool CNC machine, and what I want from this CNC machine is a reliable tool, which the homemade tube, while it did work, it's not as reliable as I want it to be. So I'm just putting this all out there, man. Electronics wise, the only thing that I had to change for this to operate with the new tube is on the pulse width modulated input for the laser power supply. I put a little janky low pass filter on there to convert it from a PWM signal to a analog signal. Now, we need a conformal coating on this. I won't tell if you don't tell. Well, as you can see, the machine is in its final resting place. Now comes the fun part. See what this thing can do. I realize I still don't have a bed on it, but in the tests I've done so far, I kind of like it like this. So for now, we're riding without a bed. Maybe in the future I'll find that I want one. So to start this thing off, I've got some cheapy 1/4-inch plywood. I'm gonna try and make the obligatory laser cut box. Ta-da! We got a box. It ain't perfect, but I'm still learning how to use the CAM software. Now then, let's do a raster. I'm a firing my laser! Now, the detail on this one didn't turn out as good. Not sure why. Could be wood grain, could be I'm still not good at using the cam, as I said before. Here's a previous one that I did just when I was testing it, and that one turned out pretty nice, so. Now then, acrylic? Check it out. That is pretty nice, man. So, we're done, man. We finally finished this dang CNC build. I know I'm a cop-out for buying a tube, but believe me, guys, I tried. I tried really, really hard, and I just figured this is my best option. Well, either way, it cuts, it engraves, it rasters. I'm pretty happy with it. Now, obviously, my cam could use some work. As of right now, for my cam software, I'm using Lightburn, but I have to take the G-code that generates and then manually edit it to use commands that this machine will understand. So hopefully I can find a better cam software and really button down the settings on this machine and do some cool stuff with it. Let me know down in the comments if you know of a better cam software for laser cutting / engraving. So recap, should you build your own CNC laser cutter? Yes. Obviously building the CNC machine is the most economical way to get a CNC machine, and you can load it up with any feature that you like in the process, which is awesome. Building the tube, if you got enough time and money, man. Making the laser tube was unlike anything that I've ever attempted before, and I learned a whole lot, and that's really what matters. And you know, in the end, got it to sort of work, and sort of was good enough for me. So, do I suggest building your own CO2 laser tube? Yes, for funsies. No, if you want to use it as a tool. Either way, it's been a good journey. Thanks for sticking around with me on it. And if you made it this far, leave a good old danger. Think about subscribing, and thank you for watching.